Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So for today we're going to be doing my October wrap up and my November TBR. So we're pretty much going to get straight into it. On my TBR for October I did have 12 books and I managed to read 8. So we're just going to get straight on into it and see what the books were. The first book I read was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. This is book 2 of the Daisy Hates books, but book 4 in the Magnolia Parks universe, and I need the next one now. This one, it made me fall in love with Julian Hates and seeing how he was with Magnolia and all of that, Daisy and Christian in it, how it ended. I loved it. I did give it 4 stars, so it was really good. And the one thing I love about the Magnolia Parks universe, the original covers, is that everything on the covers means something. So everything on this means something and it's discussed in the book. So yeah, this was the first book I read, and I was actually reading this in my reading vlog when I went away on my little holiday weekend. So if you want to see some of my reactions to me reading it, it's in that video, so definitely go check it out. The next book I read was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I gave this one 4 stars as well. It is a small town, enemies to lover, grumpy sunshine, ticking all the boxes for a quick read. I say quick read, it's about 600 pages long, but I love Naomi, I love Knox, I love seeing all the different characters. And this is the only one I've read in the Knock 'Em Out series so far. I still have got the other 2 left to read, so I'm quite excited to get into them as well. But yeah, I really like this book. And is it Way? I want to say her name's Waylay. I could be wrong in pronouncing that, but Naomi's niece, she's so funny. She was there with quick little one-liners, things like that, so she was really funny to read about too. So yeah, I would definitely read this book if you haven't already, because it's a need. You need to read it. The book I read was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, and I gave this one 4 stars as well, and I loved it. I've never read a hockey romance before, so reading this was quite interesting, and the way it was and the way that Nathan and Anastasia's relationship was and how quickly they liked each other, things like that, but they didn't want to admit it. It was ticking all the boxes and I loved it. I loved how towards the end you get a little bit of a shock factor as well. So I would definitely go check this one out. It was a great one to start reading, like a sports romance. And I have got the cheat sheet on my physical TBR that I do want to get to at some point, and I've got Wildfire as well, which is the second book in this series, which I'm also wanting to get around to reading as well, because the character is mentioned in this book and he's very secretive. You don't know much about him, so I'm quite excited to read Wildfire. The next book that I read is probably one of my favourites, and I've been thinking about it so much since I've finished it. It is such a good book, and it is Assistant to the Villain. This is my first sort of fantasy book that I have read, and when I started reading it I seen that it was meant to be very like Once Upon a Time sort of. The best way to sort of describe how the book is it's a Once Upon a Time book, and if you've watched that series then this book is definitely for you. I love that series so much. I've literally been watching it for about 5 years now. Like, it is my go-to comfort series, and this just ticked all of the boxes and I just loved it. So I did give this one 4 stars, but it's definitely in like a 4.5 range more than a 4, because it was so good. And the fact that this is book 1 of 3 and I have to wait another year for the second book literally makes me want to cry. I love this book so much that I need the next one like right now. I needed it yesterday. Like, everything that's gone on in this book is like always on my mind. Like, I need the books. The Good Girl Complex. by Elle Kennedy. I actually got this book for my birthday 2 years ago and I haven't picked it up, so I thought it's finally time, I'll read it. So I did, and I loved it. It was such a good book. It was so easy just to quickly read it and get through it, and it was just small town romance, found family, things like that, and whether there's like enemies to love and things as well. Just, it ticks all them boxes. It was giving me, what's that film? What's that film? She's All That? Yeah. It was giving me She's All That vibes as well, so I would 100% check this out if you like that movie, because it was so good. And I loved Good Girl Complex so much that I went straight into Bad Girl Reputation, and I have to say, out of the 2 books, I definitely liked Good Girl Complex more, but Bad Girl Reputation was a very, very good second book, and I liked it. It included bits of Good Girl Complex whilst also keeping it to these 2 character stories, so it was really good. So I'm excited to get the 3rd book and then have the whole series completed. I did give this one 3 stars and this one 2 stars, only because Bad Girl Reputation didn't hit as well as Good Girl Complex, so they were just good, quick, little short summer romances, I'd say, just to quickly binge through. And I mean, I think I read these both within, I think maybe like 3 days overall, whilst being at work, and obviously I work a full-time job, so they were quite easy to get through, so I would highly recommend these. The next book that I read was You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry, and it was such a good book. I mean, I even tabbed it and was annotating, and I don't really do that with my books, apart from when like I'm really enjoying it and I'm like, oh my god, I want to remember these. So I have tabbed. A lot of this is when they start realising how much they like each other and declaring their love for each other, and just cute little moments that they have. So yeah, I loved it so much, and my auntie is actually reading it for the first time, and I'm just constantly messaging her and she's messaging me, and we're like going through it, talking about it and things like that. So it was quite fun in that sense, knowing I've read the books and knowing like what sort of moments are going to come up, things like that. So it is such a good book, and I gave this one 4 stars only because it was such a light-hearted, just going to different countries, things like that. I really enjoyed that, so that's why I gave this one 4 stars. So the next book I read was actually a Kindle Unlimited book, and that was Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, and this is book 1 in the Brutal Birthright series, and it is about essentially 2 mafia families sort of battling it out. They've hated each other for years, modern day Romeo and Juliet basically. And yeah, I gave this one 5 stars because it was such a good read. I whizzed through it in a night. It was so good. I loved it, and I'm currently binging my way through the series at the moment, and I'm just loving it so much. Next book is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I did actually DNF this book. I've tried to read this book so many times, and I do keep getting further and further every time that I do get through to it. I got to chapter 6, which, if you can see, it's not a lot of pages, but I was trying everything. I was trying to reading it on my Kindle, because I was enjoying reading on my Kindle after Brutal Prince. I thought maybe if I try and read it on there I might do something. Nope. Listen to the audiobook on Spotify, nothing was working for me, so I completely DNF Seven Husbands completely, and I may try it again in the future, but I don't know. It's just not it for me. So that is it for my October wrap up. So I'm going to go straight into my November TBR, and I have actually sat and planned out my TBR as well as videos, so I will be getting all of my books in November. I can almost guarantee it. So for my November TBR, I have got 11 books that I want to try and get through, and like I said, I have planned videos around these books, so I am very certain I will finish them this month. So we're just going to get straight into the first book I want to try to finish is Stolen Air by Sophie Lark. This is book 2 in the Brutal Birthright series, and from what I know, it is about Lisa, who is the youngest of the Griffiths family, and it's her story and who she falls in love with and all of that. So I am very excited to read that one. Again, it's on Kindle Limited, so the whole series is, I think all of Sophie Lark's books are on Kindle Limited at the moment, so I would definitely recommend going to read this series because from what I've read so far it is so good, and I can't wait to read this one. The Switch by Beth O'Leary, and she is the author of The Flat Share, and I heard good things about this book and I thought I'd pick it up and read it. It is about 330 pages long, so it's not too long, and the cover of it's giving Christmassy vibes, so I thought with it being Christmas very soon I would pick this one up and try and read it this month. The next one I want to get through is Christina Lauren. This is Dating You, Hating You. I have never read a Christina Lauren book before, so I feel like with what I've heard about this one and things I've seen online that this would be a good one to start with, and then it can get me into all the other ones. And yeah, so start this one. What I want to read is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. As you can tell, I've not long just bought this book. It cost me £3 from the works, and I've seen so much of this book on TikTok, on Instagram, even on Goodreads, people raving about it, on YouTube raving about it. So I thought, why not pick it up and get it and see what it's all about. I'm guessing from the front cover it's like a American football romance, and obviously since I've read Icebreakers, I wanted to delve into more sporty romances, see if it's just the hockey ones that I like or if I like other things. So I think that'll be a good way to see this as well. And it says on the front, they say first loves last forever. I hope they're wrong. So I think this might be like a second chance as well, which sounds quite fun. The next two books I want to get through are Things We Hide from the Light and Things We Left Behind. This is book 2 and 3 of the Knock 'Em Out series. So I want to try get these two done this month, so I have finished it all, because obviously Things We Left Behind came out a few months ago and I've heard mixed reviews on it, so I obviously want to try and finish them and read them for my own opinions. Obviously book 2 is about, I think, Nash? Yeah, Nash and Lena is book 2, and Lucian and Sloane book 3. So I'm excited to read these and get back into that world and see if any of the other characters in the first book are in here and things like that. So I'm excited for these two. So sticking with the themes of the series, I want to finish Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is book 2. This is the second book to the series that Icebreaker was in, and can we just appreciate these sprayed edges for a moment? I got this from the Works. This is the Works sprayed edges. These are the only places you can get these sprayed edges, and I bought it on, I went to the Works on release day and they didn't have it, so I ordered it online. It only cost me £5. So yeah, and it's about one of the characters in Icebreaker, and he's very quiet, very timid, you don't really know much of it, and it's his story. And Russ and Aurora, that's their names. So Russ is obviously in Icebreaker and Aurora is who he ends up with, which I'm guessing is the girl on the cover. So yeah, I'm quite excited to read this one. Next book I'm going to read is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, again from the Works. It was in the 3 for £6 deal a little while ago, and I did see a few bits of it on TikTok. Again, I wasn't really into the sports romances, but after reading Icebreaker, again I thought I'd try another American football one. This is a lot smaller compared to Say You Swear, and I think they're going to be very different as well. So I'm guessing by the front cover it's about a ballerina. She's a ballerina and he plays American football, so I feel like it might be very similar to Icebreaker, so I'm quite excited to read this one too. Next book is Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and I'm aiming to try and read this one again. The only thing that's putting me off is how thick it is, and I keep seeing loads of people loving it and then I see other people hating on it, so it's giving me a lot of mixed reviews, so I keep trying to put it off. But I think this month will finally be the month where it gets nice and cozy, nice and warm, and sit and read a fantasy. Because bear in mind how much I love Assistance of the Villain, I really do want to delve back into fantasies and go down that route, and I've heard this is meant to be a good one to start off with, so I'm hoping it is really good. Last two books that I've got are Christmas themed books. So we have got Dear Santa by Debbie McComber, and this is sat on my physical TBR for a while now. I can't really remember what it is. I think it's about an older lady, she's wanting like her final love story, just some happy endings, so at Christmas that's what she wishes for, and then talks about it. I think it's meant to give the film The Holiday, I think it's meant to give like them sort of vibes, so I'm quite excited to read that one. And next one is One Last Gift by Emily Stone. I actually got this for Christmas last year and I haven't picked it up. I thought I'd leave it until Christmas this year to read it, and from the blurb I think it's meant to be like brother's best friend from what I'm getting, and I'm quite excited to read that. I just love Christmas books, they're very wholesome, so I'm excited to read that one. Also, I'm going to read them too closer to the end of the month when it does start getting to Christmas. As you can tell, Christmas tree is already up in my room, so yeah, I'm quite excited to read that. So that is it for my November TBR and my October wrap up. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It was quite a quick one because I had a lot of books I wanted to get through and I wanted a lot of books I wanted to discuss, but yeah, that is it, and keep your eyes peeled for all the videos I've got planned this month because I'm excited for quite a few of them, and I'm just about to finish up filming one as we speak. I'm going to go film for the rest of the evening and hopefully edit this one and get it up as soon as I can, and then we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!